My wealthy wife, the CEO, threw me out after swallowing her sister's lies hook, line, and sinker. 3 weeks later, she called and asked if I'd reflected. I showed up and handed her divorce papers. Her sister completely lost it. You know how they say hindsight is 20/20? Sometimes you can see the train wreck coming from a mile away, but you're too stubborn to jump off the tracks. That pretty much sums up the 44 years leading to the glorious disaster I'm about to tell you. My name is Ethan Harper, and until about 3 months ago, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. Decent-looking guy, solid career in project management, married to one of the most powerful women in Chicago, Lauren Bennett. Yeah, that Bennett, the one whose face is on the cover of Forbes' every other issue, CEO of Bennett Premier Properties, a company that owns half the best real estate from downtown to Lake Forest. When people found out I was married to Lauren Bennett, their jaws dropped so hard you could hear it across the lobby of the Drake Hotel. On paper, we were perfect. She brought the money, the connections, the kind of clout that gets you a corner booth at Gibson's with no reservation. I brought stability, reliability, and what she used to call my refreshing normal guy vibe that kept her grounded. Translation: I was the regular dude who reminded her she didn't have to live completely above the clouds in a tower made of $100 bills. Our wedding photos looked like something out of Architectural Digest. Her penthouse on Lakeshore Drive had floor-to-ceiling windows that made you feel like you were floating above the city. The marble kitchen island cost more than most people's cars. And don't get me started on the wine cellar that held bottles worth more than my entire college education. Lauren used to joke that marrying me was the smartest investment she'd ever made. I'd laugh, thinking she meant it sweetly, like we were each other's better half. Spoiler, she didn't. Then came the left turn straight into Nightmare City. Lauren had a younger sister, Ashley Bennett. If Lauren was the golden child who could do no wrong, Ashley was the family's professional disappointment, wrapped in designer labels and an attitude sharp enough to draw blood. Ashley was 27, voluntarily unemployed, and had turned living off her sister's generosity into an art form. Lauren paid for her Gold Coast condo, her credit cards, her Pilates membership, her therapy, her $200 juice cleanses, and probably the monthly blowouts that cost more than some people's grocery bills. Ashley called it family support. The rest of us called it freeloading with better lighting. From day one, Ashley looked at me like I was something she'd scraped off her Louboutin on Michigan Avenue. Every family dinner, every holiday, every casual drop-by, she gave me the same calculating glare, like she was adding up exactly how much of Lauren's money I was going to bleed over the years. Ashley had a gift for making venom sound like concern. Lauren, honey, don't you think Ethan seems a little too comfortable with your lifestyle? She'd say, voice dripping with fake worry. It's just so sweet how quickly he's adapted to luxury, like he was born for it. And Lauren, brilliant but heartbreakingly naive when it came to family, would nod like Ashley was dispensing wisdom instead of dropping slow-acting poison. Dinner table conversations became my personal torture chamber. Lauren at the head of the table closing 8-figure deals, while sipping wine that cost more per bottle than most weekly paychecks. Me trying to add something intelligent while wondering if my working-class roots were tattooed on my forehead. And Ashley sitting there with that smirk, that damn smirk. "Ethan, tell us about your day," she'd say with syrupy sweetness that somehow made it sound like she was asking a 5-year-old to explain calculus. "Nothing too stressful, I hope? We wouldn't want you getting overwhelmed." The subtext was always crystal clear. "You don't belong here. You're not good enough. You're just a better-mannered gold digger." Slowly, painfully, I watched Lauren change. The woman who used to look at me like I hung the moon started studying my face like it was a balance sheet with red flags. Her laugh turned polite instead of genuine. Questions about my work shifted from interest to interrogation. "How was your day, sweetheart?" became, "So what exactly did you accomplish today?" The change was subtle, like watching paint dry, but it was there. Every conversation felt like a deposition. Ashley was a master manipulator who planted doubt so skillfully you'd swear the seeds had always been there. She never accused me outright. That would have been too easy to defend against. Instead, she served up tiny, perfectly timed comments that wormed into Lauren's brain like termites. "I just worry about you sometimes, Lauren," she'd say during their sister-only wine nights I wasn't invited to. "You're so generous, so trusting. Some people might take advantage of that beautiful heart." And Lauren, who could smell a bad real estate deal from 3 states away, somehow couldn't see her own sister playing her like a cheap violin. The worst part? I saw it happening in real time. Every raised eyebrow, every perfectly timed sigh from Ashley. It was a slow-motion car crash, and I was strapped into the passenger seat. I tried talking to Lauren once. Huge mistake. She looked at me like I'd accused Ashley of running a drug cartel out of her condo. "Ashley loves me, Ethan. She's just looking out for me. Maybe if you tried harder to get along with her, instead of always being defensive." That's when I knew I was fighting a losing battle. In Lauren's world, I was the outsider. Ashley had 27 years of shared history. I had 3 years of marriage and a growing reputation as the paranoid husband who couldn't handle his sister-in-law's honest concern. But here's what neither of them realized. I might look like the stable, reliable everyman, but I'm not stupid, and I don't roll over. If they thought they had me pegged, they were in for a rude awakening. The affair accusations started on a Tuesday. I remember because I was supposed to meet Lauren for lunch at that overpriced bistro she loved in the Loop. I was running late from a client meeting when my phone buzzed. Rain check. Need to think about some things Ashley mentioned. Those words should have come with a biohazard warning. When I got home that night, the penthouse felt 20 degrees colder. Lauren was sitting in her white leather chair, the one that cost more than most people's rent, with an expression like she'd caught me running a Ponzi scheme from the guest room. "We need to talk," she said. "If you've ever been married, you know those 4 words are the marital equivalent of a 5-alarm fire." "Sure, babe, what's up?" I tried to keep it light while my stomach practiced Olympic gymnastics. Lauren took the kind of breath people take before ripping off a Band-Aid the size of Texas. "Ashley saw you having lunch with a blonde woman at RL today." First, I wasn't at RL. I was in a conference room with 3 60-year-old guys talking construction timelines. Second, the only blonde I'd spoken to all day was the barista at Starbucks who spelled Ethan with an A. But Ashley had planted the seed, and Lauren was already watering it. "Lauren, I was in meetings all day. I can show you my calendar, emails, security footage." "It's not just today, Ethan," she cut in. and I swear I heard Ashley's voice coming out of her mouth. She's noticed things, how you've been dressing sharper, staying late at the office, paying more attention to your appearance. I stared at her like she'd announced gravity was a myth. You mean dressing better because you bought me half my wardrobe? Staying late because we just landed 3 huge contracts. Taking care of myself because I'm married to Chicago's most powerful woman and don't want to embarrass you at galas. Logic doesn't work when someone's already decided you're guilty. The money accusations came next because apparently I was both a cheating husband and a financial leech. Ashley had discovered transfers to accounts Lauren didn't recognize. The mysterious transfers? Money I'd been socking away for an anniversary trip to Tuscany. The unknown accounts were literally labeled Anniversary Surprise, Italy. But Ashley had angled the screenshots perfectly, like a forensic accountant who flunked detective school. Lauren bought it hook, line, and sinker. No evidence I showed mattered. There was always another explanation that painted me as the villain. It was like playing chess with someone who changed the rules every move. My friends tried to warn me. My buddy Ryan took me out for drinks and said, "Man, that sister-in-law of yours is toxic waste. Lauren's letting her pull every string." Another friend, Chris, was blunter. "Get ahead of this before it blows up your whole life. Ashley's not stopping until she gets you gone." I was stubborn. I thought love would beat manipulation. I thought 3 years of marriage outweighed a lifetime of sisterly dependency. I was catastrophically wrong. The night that ended everything was a Thursday. We were supposed to watch the season finale of Lauren's favorite Rich People Behaved Badly show. Instead, she was waiting in the living room with a full PowerPoint of evidence. Printed emails, highlighted statements, a timeline that would have impressed the FBI. Ashley's fingerprints were all over it, but Lauren presented it like she'd done the detective work herself. "I can't do this anymore, Ethan," she said, a voice colder than a January wind off the lake. Ashley wouldn't lie about something this serious. She loves me, she's protecting me, and everything adds up. That was the moment I knew I'd lost, not because I'd done anything wrong, but because Ashley had played the longest, dirtiest game imaginable. It was a Friday evening in October. The trees along the lake were turning, and I'd been daydreaming about the walks Lauren and I used to take when we were first dating. Funny the dumb details your brain latches onto when your world is about to explode. I walked in, loosening my tie, looking forward to Thai takeout and a quiet weekend. Instead, Lauren was standing in the living room in her navy power suit, the one that meant someone was about to get fired. Arms crossed, face carved from ice, and behind her, like a demon in designer heels, stood Ashley wearing a smirk you could see from space. "We need to talk," Lauren said, her new catchphrase. "Okay," I said, setting down my briefcase, trying to read the room. It felt like a funeral and an execution rolled into one. Lauren didn't bother with build-up. "Pack your things, Ethan. I can't trust you anymore. I want you out tonight." Just like that. No discussion, no "let's work on this." Just an eviction notice delivered in the same tone she used to close 9-figure deals. I stood there waiting for the punchline. "You heard me," she said flatly. "Out, tonight. I can't have someone I don't trust under my roof." Her roof, not our roof, her roof. Behind her, Ashley was practically glowing with triumph. "Lauren, honey, let's talk about this." "Don't you dare blame my sister," she snapped, stepping slightly in front of Ashley like she was shielding her from me. Ashley didn't make, "You lie, cheat, and use me." None of it was true, and she knew it somewhere deep down, but Ashley had spent months rewriting reality. Ashley actually snorted like I'd told the worst joke in history. "Oh, please, Ethan, save the act." "I'm not talking to you," I said, turning to her for the first time. "This is frankly none of your damn business." "It became my business the second you started hurting my sister," she fired back, righteous indignation dialed to 11. Lauren stepped forward again, fully bodyguard mode now. "She's been right about you from the beginning." Right from the beginning. 3 years of poisoning finally admitted out loud. "So that's it," I said, feeling something inside me turn to stone. 3 years and you're tossing me out because your unemployed parasitic sister says so. Ashley flushed crimson. Lauren's eyes flashed. "Leave, Ethan, now, before I call security." Security. She was threatening to have me removed by security from the home we'd shared for 3 years. I looked around one last time, at the couch where we'd binge-watched shows, the dining table where we'd hosted friends, the windows overlooking a city we'd planned to grow old in. It all looked like a stranger's life. "Fine," I said, "I'll pack a bag." As I walked to the bedroom, her bedroom now, I heard Ashley whispering victory nothings to Lauren. 10 minutes later, I had one duffel bag and a lifetime of memories reduced to whatever fit inside. Lauren held the door open like she couldn't wait to be rid of me. Ashley bounced on her toes like a kid on Christmas. "This is a mistake," I said one last time, "and one day you'll realize it." "The only mistake I made was trusting you," Lauren replied, not meeting my eyes. I walked out. The door closed behind me with the finality of a coffin lid. Standing on the sidewalk with my single bag, while the city carried on around me, something unexpected hit: relief. Under the hurt and betrayal was a strange lightness, like I'd finally stopped pretending everything was fine. They thought they'd won. They had no idea what they'd just set in motion. The next 3 weeks I spent in a cramped one-bedroom in Wicker Park, were basically a masterclass in controlled rage and meticulous planning. The apartment was what realtors call cozy and sane people call a shoebox. 600 square feet, a fridge that sounded like a dying walrus, and upstairs neighbors who apparently practiced river dance at 3 a.m. After 3 years in a Lakeshore Drive palace, it felt like I'd been demoted to the mailroom of life. But it was mine. No one could kick me out. No one could fill it with poison. The first few days were rough. I stared at ceilings a lot, reached for Lauren in bed, and remembered she was probably toasting her victory with Ashley. But hitting rock bottom gives you solid ground to build on. And while I ate takeout and wondered if this was a midlife crisis, something shifted. My phone stayed silent. Not one text from Lauren asking if I was okay or suggesting we talk like adults. Complete radio silence, which told me exactly how much our marriage had meant to her. Ashley, meanwhile, turned social media into her personal parade. Instagram stories of brunches captioned, "Grateful for family who always has your back." Posts about cutting toxic people out. All paid for by Lauren's money, posted from Lauren's penthouse, using Lauren's success. Instead of rage, I got curious. If I was such a monster, why wasn't Lauren crowing publicly? Why was Ashley doing all the victory dancing while Lauren stayed quiet? That's when I started paying attention. Lauren's company had gone strangely silent. No new announcements, no splashy deals. For someone who treated success like a contact sport, the quiet was deafening. Ashley's posts were all from the same handful of places: the Penthouse, RL, a couple Gold Coast restaurants, living her best life in a 5-block radius. None of Lauren's usual crowd had reached out, not even the nosy ones. So I did what I do best: research, methodical, professional, the kind that saves multi-million-dollar projects. Public records, business filings, anything fair game. Turns out Bennett Premier Properties was having a very bad quarter. Deals collapsing, investors pulling out, regulatory headaches on Lauren's pet lakefront project. Then I revisited the prenup, the one Lauren had insisted on when she was head over heels and wanted me to feel secure. Most people think prenups only protect the rich spouse. Not always, especially when the rich spouse initiates divorce based on unfounded accusations and refuses counseling. 3 years ago, Lauren had been a different woman. She'd added clauses protecting me from exactly this scenario: substantial alimony if the marriage ended due to her misconduct or unreasonable behavior, like throwing me out based on lies without evidence. I spent hours with that document and a highlighter. While doing that, I documented everything: screenshots of Ashley's posts, records of my attempts to reach Lauren, proof of my whereabouts during the affair sightings. Quietly, methodically, I built a case. Tuesday morning, exactly 3 weeks after eviction, Lauren called. "Ethan, we need to talk. Have you had time to reflect?" Reflect. Like I was a kid sent to the corner. "Sure," I said, voice neutral. "Plenty of time." "Good. Can you come to my office tomorrow? 2 o'clock? I think we should discuss moving forward." Translation: she wanted to see if I was ready to grovel. "I'll be there." Time to show them what 3 weeks of reflection had produced. I walked into Bennett Premier Properties 20 minutes early, wearing the charcoal suit Lauren had bought me for last year's gala, back when she was proud to have me on her arm. Briefcase in hand, black leather, expensive, a second anniversary gift from the good old days. Inside, everything I'd compiled, neatly organized. The receptionist smiled the professional smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "Mr. Harper, Mrs. Bennett is expecting you. Conference room A." The big one, floor-to-ceiling windows, power move. If she wanted to treat this like business, I'd give her the full corporate experience. At exactly 2, I walked in. Lauren sat at the head of the mahogany table like she was chairing a board meeting. She looked tired, stress lines she didn't have 3 weeks ago. To her right, Ashley, smirking like she'd already won. "Ethan," Lauren said, gesturing to the chair opposite, "please sit." I sat, placed the briefcase on the table with deliberate care. Both women eyed it like it might explode. "Thank you for coming," Lauren began, sliding into full CEO mode. "I hope these weeks have given you time to think about everything that's happened." "Oh, I've been thinking," I said pleasantly. "A lot." Ashley leaned forward, smirk widening. "Good," Lauren continued, "because we need to discuss how to move forward. Our marriage, living arrangements, our future." The way she said "our future" told me exactly what she had planned. Divorce on her terms, me taking the blame, generous settlement to keep me quiet. "Actually, Lauren," I said, reaching for the briefcase, "I agree completely. I brought some materials to help clarify exactly what that future looks like." Click. The briefcase opened. Before either could react, I pulled out a thick stack of papers and slid them across the table. "Starting with these divorce papers, I'd like you to sign." The silence was glorious. Lauren's hand hovered like the documents might bite. Her CEO mask cracked. Ashley looked like someone had canceled Christmas and burned her trust fund. What is this? Lauren finally whispered. Divorce papers, I said helpfully. The kind that end a marriage when one spouse throws the other out, based on completely fabricated accusations. Lauren's hands weren't steady anymore as she picked them up. Her eyes scanned, and I watched every stage of realization hit. Confusion, shock, disbelief, terror. Ethan, she said slowly, surely we can discuss this privately. No need for lawyers. Oh, we're discussing it right now, like adults, and these are the adult consequences of adult decisions. Ashley had been quiet too long. Warning sign. You can't do this, she exploded, slamming her palm on the table. You can't destroy my sister's life because you got caught. Caught doing what, exactly? I asked calmly. Having lunch at RL, when I have 4 witnesses and security footage proving I was 20 miles away? Or the secret account labeled Anniversary, Italy. I opened my phone, showed the banking app. Ashley turned a fascinating shade of purple. Lauren was deep into the papers now and had reached the prenup clauses. Her face went ghost white. These clauses I don't remember. You insisted, I said gently. You wanted me to feel secure. You never wanted me to worry you'd use your money as a weapon if things got hard. Irony so thick you could spread it on toast. Ashley was reading over her shoulder now, turning greener by the second. Lauren, you can't sign this. Fight the prenup I wrote? Lauren asked hollowly. Fight the evidence Ethan never cheated? Fight the fact I threw my husband out based on lies I never verified? She looked at me, and for the first time in months, I saw the woman I'd married. How much? She asked quietly. Per the prenup you drafted, roughly 30% of your net income monthly for 5 years, plus a $2.4 million lump sum within 60 days of decree. Ashley made a choking sound. Lauren, the business can't. Oh, we'll definitely discuss the gambling debts too, I added cheerfully. Both women froze. Gambling debts, Lauren repeated. Time for the finale. I pulled out the thick manila folder. Turns out someone's been transferring money from company accounts to offshore gambling sites for 18 months. Increasing amounts, total around $473 lost so far. I spread bank statements, casino withdrawal records, and piece de resistance, Ashley's own Instagram selfies at blackjack tables, geotagged and time-stamped to match the transfers. Lauren stared like she was watching her sister commit murder in real time. You stole from my company, she whispered. It was borrowing, Ashley started. Borrowing half our emergency fund? Lauren's voice could have frozen Lake Michigan. Then the water pitcher Ashley hurled shattered against the wall behind me. Security was called. Police, too. Embezzlement's a felony. Ashley screamed, cried, begged. Lauren just looked broken. As security hauled Ashley away, Lauren looked at me with something like respect. Ethan, any chance we could fix this? I closed the briefcase. Fix this? Lauren, you chose to believe a thief and a liar over your husband. Some things can't be fixed. I walked out. 6 months later, I run my own thriving consultancy from a corner office in the Loop. Lauren's empire is in receivership. Ashley got 8 years federal time. The penthouse sold at a loss. Lauren lives in a 2-bedroom in Evanston now. I got the alimony, but honestly, watching them reap what they sowed was payment enough. Sometimes the best revenge isn't lifting a finger. It's just stepping aside and letting people discover exactly who they chose to trust. And me, I've never been happier. Freedom tastes better than any view from Lakeshore Drive ever did.